previously?
Third, the number 120 in spawn entities seems like a magic number. It might be better to use an if, else if block. On line 176 at 124 in the file playermovement.cs, the code shown uses one extra float square root instruction. That is extremely expensive.
I've been able to incorporate some of their suggestions in order to make my code better and more efficient.
From Rabbit Shark Games and supported by viewers like you, this is the Windu review. A video that is definitely not 12 days late. This is episode 3. If you haven't watched the others, you probably don't have to. Speaking of how the Titanic was actually another boat and they acted like it was the Titanic and then destroyed it on purpose for insurance reasons, there's a couple of new things that have been shown in the game as of the devlog. First, there's a demo, and we'll get to that later. Second, there's a jump cancel in the intro, which we'll also get to later. He added a portal, which when gone through acts as a win condition. There's also a screen that shows the controls, but not that E acts as a boost key. There's new decorations in the form of gravestones. More added are new wooden and bouncy tiles, which we'll get to later and add more options for the 3 new levels in the game. And there's also 3 videos of code. The first is a small section of code from pausemenu.cs, the second is the same videos from the previous devlog, and the third is a fix to the magic number from before. And then I said, that's not a camel, that's the logo for Star Dolphin International. Oh, hey. You might think that there's not enough information about the hand from hell yet to get the full picture of the story it's trying to tell, but you'd be wrong. First, let's get some of the obvious information out of the way. You might think that this game clearly takes place in hell, and that's an impressive amount of critical thinking for someone of your intelligence. You see, it cannot be from hell, for why would you refer to the hand as the hand from hell if everyone's in hell? It does not refer to you as the player from hell. This all goes to the point that this story takes place somewhere else. It's my theory that this game entirely takes place inside of a rotting corpse, and I have evidence to back it up. If you take the time to look far below your feet as you fly through the air, you might notice a river of blood. And you know what else had blood? Dead people. More evidence of it being blood and not lava is that when you fall in it, you do not burn, but instead you just get grabbed by the hand. You will also see the gravestones floating above you as you gracefully glide through the level's woes and triumphs. You might think, I know from personal experience in the field that gravestones cannot fit inside of a decaying corpse, but you would be mistaken. The gravestones are not meant to be interpreted as literal gravestones, you buffoon, but as a hint to the dead nature of the location you are in. Now that we know we are undeniably spot on about the location of the game, the question is, what does it all mean? I think that you are the spirit of the dead corpse, and you trying to escape all the levels is representative of you trying to escape death itself. This would explain why the hand is trying to get you. The hand is one of the spirits you have wronged who wants to keep you dead and drag you to the pits of hell. It is unclear how you wronged the hand, but it must have been something really bad. Now we are getting into the even deeper, more difficult to interpret parts of the lore that only someone such as myself could decipher. First, I think it would be appropriate to give all of the creatures in this game names. Some of them have names in the code or instructions, but it's unclear if these names are canon, so we'll be renaming everyone. We'll call the player Donna, the head Carrington, the masked Manton, the hand-faced monster Ripley, and the purple guy Bob. Starting from the beginning, Carrington was banished to hell out of spite by Donna. Unknown to Carrington, Donna was just doing the bidding of another shadowy figure we've yet to see. At some point, Donna repents for their actions and tries to tell people of the shadowy figures as evil doings, but clearly they are unsuccessful, and the shadowy figure is able to kill them before the world they live in was able to hear them speak. Donna's desire to help those they have wronged is what leads them to fight so vigorously to beat death and live once more. Not understanding the full situation, Carrington, powered by vengeance, travels to Donna's spirit within the rotting corpse and tries to prevent them from surviving. Though, in the finale, Carrington will realize the situation and join you in the fight against the shadowy figure. After surviving the vicious attacks of the shadowy figure, you will out to the world all the horrible things they have done and apologizing for the ways you have aided them in their conquest. Once the message is put out and the shadowy figure is defeated, both Carrington and Donna will dissipate finally at peace. The other spirits you witness in the corpse are representative of other people Donna has wronged,
I have a strong feeling we will learn more about these characters' backstories in the full release, but for now I have some educated guesses. Bob is most likely a character that you were forced to drown at the discretion of the shadowy figure. This can be assumed because he makes you go lower, which is similar to how sea level is lower than ground level. Brightly is most likely someone whose eyes got ripped out by Donna after they witnessed the shadowy figures' misdeeds. This can be assumed since you survived by not looking at the creature. I think that Manton is more of a meta-commentary that references the situation you are in. It is clearly an allusion to the popular Minecraft YouTuber Dream. He is famous for wearing a mask and taking normal pills, which Manton also does. The purpose of this is to show the similarities between Donna and Dream the Minecraft YouTuber. Dream tried to cheat at Minecraft speedrunning, like how you tried to cheat death. The end screen of the game will be you and all the other spirits happily playing chess, for you have all forgiven each other and are now best friends. There will most likely be a sitcom-style cartoon based off the hijinks the spirits have in heaven after the events of the game. I have no doubt that you are shocked by what I've just told you, but this is undoubtedly where the story is going to end up. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk.
There are a couple of bugs that we found while playing the game. First, when the player is crouching, the game scales them down instantly, and when they finish crouching, they scale back up. This means that it is possible to clip into the jump pad, causing you to get extremely large quantities of boost. Fun fact, this glitch also appears in Portal. Another bug is that the main menu changes size when the window size changes. I don't actually know why this happens, but it does happen. Not too much of a bug though, it really only happens on the web version. Finally, the quit button in the game just brings you back to the level select. Speaking of cops lying on the stand, you know who's only spitting facts? Mr. Windu. In the file playermovement.cs, there's a line this.rb.velocity.magnitude. Wait.
On line 176 at 124 in the file playermovement.cs, the code shown uses one extra float square root instruction. That is extremely
expensive. You know what? I get it. There's no doubt that the grail of efficiency leads to abuse. Programmers waste enormous amounts of time thinking about or worrying about the speed of non-critical parts of their programs, and these attempts at efficiency actually have a strong negative impact when debugging and maintenance are concerned. You know, we should forget about the small inefficiencies, say about 97% of the time. Premature optimization is the root of all evil. Yet, we should not pass up our opportunities in that critical 3%. A good programmer will not be lulled into complacency by such reasoning. He will be wise to look carefully at the critical code, but only after that code has been identified. It is often a mistake to make a priori judgments about what parts of a program are really critical, since the universal experience of programmers who have been using measurement tools has been that their intuitive guesses fail. After working with such tools for 7 years, I've become convinced that all compilers written from now on should be designed to provide all programmers with feedback indicating what parts of their programs are costing the most. Indeed, this feedback should be supplied automatically unless it has been specifically turned off. You know what else doesn't melt steel beams? Mr. Windu's code. Here's a couple of things I noticed from looking at the code. First, in playercollisions.cs, there are 2 lines that set the collided object's physics constraints. Physics constraints tell the game engine how to do its job. This code appears to intend to ask the physics engine to preserve static both the position along the z-axis and the rotation of the object. When you tell the physics engine to do this, what you're doing is you're giving it a number, or rather, a bit field. In the computer, all numbers are stored in bits. Usually, these directly refer to numbers. Off is 0, off-on is 1, on-off is 2, and on-on is 3. But if you just want to treat these as raw bits, you can do that too. There are a couple of bitwise operators that you can use to achieve your goals, most notably AND, NOT, and OR. Let's say that we have 2 bits, has a cat and has a dog. For simplicity, let's start this off with both bits set to off. Now, let's say that we suddenly get a cat. What we then do is use the OR operator on both our variable and on another variable, which is just the bit representing having a cat. The OR operator works by going bit by bit on 2 variables and returning on if either of the variables is on in that position. Otherwise, it returns off. So now we have our variable set, but how do we check if this variable has a dog? Well, we have to use 2 things, the bitwise and that computers are good at checking if things are 0. Let's use the AND operator with that variable and another variable, which is just the has a dog bit.
The AND operator works by going bit by bit on both variables, but instead of either, it returns on only if both variables are on. Then, we compare the result with 0, and if it isn't 0, it has the bit set. We can try this again with the has a cat bit, and the result is what was expected. That's how the rigid body constraints are stored, but that means that these lines of code that set it to something and then set it to something else are wrong. Either the first line should be removed, or they should be ORed together, which would set both bits to true. Another issue, or rather inconsistency, is in the files player collisions and player movement.cs. When colliding with the jump pads, it adds to your Y velocity, while when you press the jump key, it sets your Y velocity. The difference is that the jump pads can technically increase your velocity to speeds much beyond what is intended under specific circumstances, while with the jump key, you cannot. Also, speaking of jumping, the implementation of jumping is slightly inefficient. It works by first creating a new vector 3 with the same x and z, but a y value equal to 0, and then setting the character's velocity to that. Then, it adds the y velocity in a separate step. The proper solution would probably be to set the y velocity when colliding with a jump pad instead of adding it. Rapid Shark Games always appreciates newcomers to the video game industry, as they make it look like we're not a mob-funded monopoly, which we are. And remember, if you ever need to contact us, just whisper the message into the ear of a pigeon. It will arrive.